the slope and y-intercept relate to a linear relationship. Tobias bought a sunflower plant for his yard. He measures the height of the plant each week and records it in a table. Determine and interpret the slope and y-intercept of the line that represents the data in the table. Step 1. Determine the slope and y-intercept of the line that is represented by the table. The line will cross the y-axis at 0, 16. The slope of the line is the difference 48 minus 40, divided by the difference 4 minus 3, which is equal to 8. The slope is 8, and the y-intercept is 16. Step 2. Interpret the slope and y-intercept based on the context. The y-intercept represents the initial height of the plant. The plant was 16 inches tall when Tobias bought it. The slope is the rate of change of the height of the plant each week. What does the slope represent in this situation?
Select your answer.
The plant grows 8 inches per 1 week. How can the accuracy of this model of plant growth be improved? Aiko records the data in the table while riding in the car with her mom. Determine and interpret the slope and y-intercept of the line that represents the data in the table.
So the y-intercept is where the line crosses over the y-axis. So for a rule of thumb, most times you're going to have the first column is your x and the second column will be your y. So if that is the case, that means our y-intercept is going to be, let me go back to the table. The y-intercept is going to be the 72 here. Oh my goodness. Okay, so 72 will be our y-intercept. Now it asks for us to also determine the slope. So the slope of our, I'm going to use a different color. The slope is going to be, we have to find by using the formula y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. So what that means is we have to take 2 points on from the data and subtract them from each other. So I'm going to choose, I'll choose 15 and 57 and 25 and 47. So with that, my y1 is going to be 57. My y2 will be 47. So my 47 minus 57. Okay. Then I have my x1 and x2. So again, x1, x2. So x2 is first, so that's 25 minus 15. So now you do the math. So then we have 10, negative 10. I'm going to write it over here. Negative 10 over positive 10. And if we simplify that, we would have, because negative 10 divided by 10 is 1, so we would have negative 1. So the slope of this table would be negative 1. The slope is negative 1. However, that represents 1 mile a minute because that's what the data represents. And driving is miles per hour. So if it's 1 every minute, the distance is changing. We want to know in an hour how the distance is changing. So there are 60 minutes in an hour. So there would be 60 miles per hour is the rate in which her mom is driving to Gainesville. And again, the y-intercept was 72, and that represents the miles away from Gainesville when they started driving.
The equation F equals 9/5 times C plus 32 represents the conversion of Celsius to Fahrenheit. Determine and interpret the slope and y-intercept of the line that represents the equation.
The equation is in slope-intercept form. Y equals mx plus b. So the slope is 9/5. For every 5-degree increase in Celsius, the temperature in Fahrenheit increases 9 degrees. The y-intercept is 32, so 0 degrees Celsius is equal to 32 degrees Fahrenheit.
Determine and interpret the slope and the y-intercept of the graph.
Okay, so again, the y-intercept is usually easiest to find because it is the point in which the line crosses over the y-axis. So this point here crosses over the y-axis here. So our y-intercept would be the negative 17 and 7/9. And that represents the starting point of the temperature and in Fahrenheit. So now the slope was given to us as 9/5. So we already have our slope, so we don't have to solve for it, and our y-intercept is the negative 17 and 7/9. So that means the y-intercept means that at 0 degrees Fahrenheit, that the Celsius degrees is negative 17 and 7/9.
Nala has a collection of 356 comics. Every month, she sells 2 of her comic books. The number of comic books in her collection can be represented by a linear equation. Determine and interpret the slope and y-intercept of the line that represents the equation.
The slope is the change in number of comic books each month, -2. It means Nala's collection decreases by 2 comic books each month. The y-intercept represents the initial number of comic books she started with, which was 356 comics.
Nala's brother started with 5 comic books. Each month, he buys 3 new comic books. The number of comic books in his collection can be represented by a linear equation. Determine and interpret the slope and y-intercept of the line that represents the equation.
So the formula we're looking at is y equals mx plus b. B represents our y-intercept. That's the number you start with. So her brother started with 5 comic books. The x stays the same, the y stays the same. The m represents our slope. In this case, they've given us our slope, which is 3 comic books, because it tells us he's buying 3 new ones each month. So that represents the rate of change. Every month he's increasing his collection by 3 new comic books. So this is the formula that we needed to create.